until you have
We're
one.
live.
Okay,
Okay.
let me call the Legislative Rules and Government Operations Committee to order. It is September 22nd, 2022. The time is 2:13 p.m. First item, after calling the meeting to order, is to approve the minutes. We have July 19th. I believe we've done that. Let's go it in again. So July 19th and the August 23rd minutes for this committee have been brought to you. Is there anybody that has any suggested amending of those minutes? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes as presented for July 19th and August 23rd. All right, put forward by Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, minutes are approved. The next item that I'm going to do, we've got quite a busy day. Why don't we go to County Clerk Pam Bogle, who has a budget she's going to discuss. Pam, are you prepared to do that? All right. Please come forward.
Perhaps let me ask, does anybody need a copy of the budget that she had put out online as well as at the board meeting?
Pam, we'll have to go to the speaker, please,
I
and
will.
sit down at the table.
Is over here okay?
That's
Is that what you like?
excellent. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Does anyone need a copy of the budget and agenda at this point? Everybody else set? Okay. Well, as we usually introduce the county clerk, we talk in general about the budgets that contribute to the operation of the county clerk's office. There are two main ones that contribute to the county clerk's office. They are the A1410, which is your county clerk, and that is the bulk. That's where you see the bulk of the county employees, and also the revenue stream is forecast in there, as well as the some of the contractual needs of the office. And then the other one would be the public records, which is a much smaller component, which addresses the archival portion of the clerk's office. Typically, that is the way it goes. So we have the two, and in front of you, we are going to look at first 1410 county clerk. If that's all right. Subject matter for the county clerk's revenue. When we were in budget committee, we did my review of revenue to date had come through the month of July. So we did a 7-month plan there. At that time, in the county clerk's office, we were experiencing, especially in the month of July, some decreases. And that caused us some concern as we went into budget review in August. And it affected each one of the revenue codes that we have. In front of you, you will see that we have the motor vehicle use tax. We have projected under motor vehicle use tax actually to lower that for 2023. And a lot of that had to do with what we were experiencing in July. However, August was quite a bit nicer to us. So we did have some positives in August. At this point in time, however, I don't see, a change in what we forecast in August at budget review. In other words, we submitted the budget for 2023 for automobile use tax to be $475,000. And that is a decrease. I'm thinking right now, our year to date is about 318,000, but with 4 months left to the year, I think we're still going to be a stretch to reaching that 500,000 for 2022. Part of it has to do with the vehicles themselves. Motor vehicle use tax has to do with registration of vehicles. We have 55,000 vehicles in Warren County, and we register about 38,000 of them here at the Warren County Clerk's office. But this money will come to us from wherever the registration occurs. So it could be in Saratoga County, but it's going to come back to Warren County if it's a Warren County vehicle. We also have about 7,000 plate surrenders. So plates are on vehicles. If vehicles don't get registered, then of course that money, that vehicle is not going to show up in that registration motor vehicle use tax stream. So just a thought about motor vehicle use tax, it does come to us regardless of where the vehicle is registered. We do an excellent number here in the office, but overall for 2023, we are projecting a little bit lower and $475,000. The next one would be the county clerk fees. The way we're looking at that, again, when we were here in August, we were taking our numbers up through July. And July was also a weak time for us. And so we projected a little bit lower there. We projected $1,250,000. It's possible. We are on track. We will make it for 2022, but I'm thinking, we are seeing a little bit of an increase in the 1255 monies. And so I don't know if when you finally look at the budget figures, if you'll be thinking that you want to see a small increase there over what we presented for the budget. In other words, did you want to see an additional 50,000? It's possible that that might be under consideration. I don't know. That is usually the kinds of decisions that are made as you go to the final examination of the total budget. What we're doing is we put out a very conservative approach for the budget that I presented, and that which we spoke about in the budget review. You might consider a small increase there. I did throw that out to Rob Lynch at one point and also presented it back up here for just a thought, about it. So what also impacts the clerk fees is DMV, the DMV in-house, not motor vehicle use tax per se, but in-house. So if that goes up, then that's also has a good reflection on 1255. Mortgage tax, obviously, we have exceeded each time when we prepare the budget and we actually go through the budget, we do reach or exceed what has been budgeted. And actually in 2021, our money's revenue for mortgage tax, and that's your additional and your local tax, two taxes combined together that stay here with the county. So we did 3 million in 2021. Projections are we most likely will come very close to that in 2022. We have set, though, as we have always done, a very conservative mortgage tax request, budget request for 2023 and prior years as well. So you're seeing that at 2,250,000. Could it possibly go up a little bit? Possibly. That would be for your consideration as you look at the total revenue picture of Warren County. I am comfortable with what we have provided as part of this budget. I am comfortable with it. However, in review, they said, well, perhaps we'll be tweaking later on down the road. So just to let you know, August was better for us than July. So And the last revenue code that we have under the county clerk are the clerk internet sales, basically documents online. That is a contractual thing that's actually under our contract for the entire system that runs the clerk's office. They also have set up the website that all 5 million pages of county clerk records are available. That generates largely commercial, about 90% of it are commercial purchases, you know, your title companies, your attorneys, and they are not just Warren County, they are statewide and nationwide. We're projecting 55,000. We'll probably exceed that, very possibly exceed that this year. But I wouldn't change that. I'm pretty comfortable with that figure. Last year, we did 66,000. And right now we're at about 38, 40,000. So our overall projection of revenue for the clerk's office for 2023 is $4,030,000. If you get to the point where you think you're going to look at one of the codes and wish to talk about that further, be happy to sit in with you on that. If you're satisfied with this conservative approach, that is fine with me as well. Revenue codes in Warren County Clerk's Office.
Supervisor Conover.
Yeah, I mean, I think your recommendation is a good one. Those of us that remember the last recession and what happened on the mortgage tax revenue, I mean, like it went off a cliff. And it wasn't just for 1 year. It actually went up.
It was at that time that we passed the local law for the local tax to come in. And it turned out to be vital to Warren County to have that one because
So I'm saying is I think, given what we're being told by some going forward, I think
Yes.
that being extra careful,
being careful is
the
okay.
revenue side is advised, I'd say.
Thank you.
I mean, we can go back and take a look at what happened in 8, 9, 10, 11. I think there might be a little bit of history there that could be
Yes.
helpful as well.
All right, Eddie.
Thank you, Chairman. Pam, how much impact does your employment fills, job fills have to do with your revenue stream? I mean, you still have
We still
some-
have, yes, okay, so to bring you up to date on that, we had 2 vacancies in the county DMV. We have finished the interviews of one set of those, and we will be hiring one person from that. Now, that is good news, and we're hopeful, okay, with that. Just keep in mind, this is not an office or a position that one comes in prepared and knowledgeable about. It is a long time, you know. And the other thing, when we do bring in a new person, that person is tagged with one of our supervisors. So I guess we're familiar with what happens when we go to the grocery store and you see somebody in training. And, you know, sometimes you steer away from that because you want to get through. It's very methodical, but, you know, certainly, you know, once that person is trained and is able to contribute to the department, then you have an extra window, you know. Right now, we're short windows on certain occasions, you know. So I believe it does impact us for sure. We're hopeful for that day. Now, as far as the rest, there is another motor vehicle test coming up in October that has been open to applications, and we have talked to and encouraged many people that have, you know, said, well, it's DMV hire. Yes, we do. So we've encouraged those to go to the civil service and apply for that position. Once again, there is no training school for a DMV motor vehicle clerk, except what you see right there on the floor. So, and I will say, and there's a point of frustration for all of us. I know other departments in Warren County, but the fact that New York State Civil Service has delayed delays the results, we lose people. We cannot be waiting 5 months. This cannot happen. It needs to come back to the local so that results can be generated, and we can approach people and in a timely fashion rather than 5 months later. It's that hard.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, so that's it on revenues.
That's
Uh,
revenue.
So, County Clerk Vogel, would you like to discuss or highlight, if you will?
Under
expenditure?
county clerks, as we discussed in review, it's a very conservative approach, a few minor increases. I'm going to circle the overtime right now because we have a resolution. I don't want to forget that, or a transfer of funds. So don't let me forget that, Chairman. But yeah, it's a conservative approach there. And there's, as you know, the biggest part of the clerk's budget is that contract that runs the system in the clerk's office. And so that portion is about $77,000. So that is, and we are under contract. We have a 5-year contract. I'm looking at Julie, and it's 5-year contract, and then we have renewal, 3 years possibly. I think that's where it is. So that is set for us. Otherwise, general needs of the office, the operation is addressed in the balance of the county clerk.
Question from committee to County Clerk Vogel. All right, seeing none, let's move on to the action item.
Yes.
The action item is to transfer $300 from available funds in County Clerk A 1410-110 budget to A 1410-120 overtime salaries in order to address a potential deficit over remaining weeks of 2022. So the rationale is the need for the additional funds in overtime budget is due to staff shortages, such as and so forth in the DMV and the county clerk operations. Motion to bring it to the floor by Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. Discussion. Being no discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Aye.
Motion made by Supervisor McDevitt, seconded by Supervisor Conover. All those. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion passed. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day.
Next, I have County Auditor. And, Auditor. It's an action item. Just reviewing the budget. Yes, I think so. Okay. I'm going to give the floor to you, County Auditor.
So my budget is relatively small compared to many of the others in the county. And most things have stayed about the same. I do have $500 in furniture for next year. I need a new chair. It's duct taped on the arms, and every half hour I have to put myself back up. So it's time for a new chair.
I
Yeah.
thought you just liked that chair a lot.
Supplies, I went down to $1,000. I don't think we're gonna need the 1,400 that we had done last year. The travel, education, and conference did go up to 1,500. I passed my last test and I received the CIA designation for this year. So I will have to do continuing education credits in order to keep that. So that amount was raised. And other than that, most everything else in my budget is nothing that I have control of. It's either put in or like the workers' compensation is given to us by self-insurance. And the data processing and internet fees is, the figure is given to me by IT. So there's not a lot of wiggle room that I have in my budget.
Questions for county auditor current? Seeing none, no action items. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to IT. Michael Cole.
Hello. So I just have one resolution that is not on the agenda. I'll just see here. And that I have a couple codes that I've overspent. For a budget neutral request to get me on hot water with the treasurer's office. Yeah, yeah. So I ran short in a health insurance code and an overtime code. And so just moving money from one code to the other to keep it neutral. So I'm just gonna ask for a resolution to move that money and fix my budget.
Any questions around this? Action item, and then we'll review the budget, right?
Yep.
Director. Okay. So give a quick overview of what you want us to do here with the request for transfer of funds.
Yeah, I need to move money from my 1680, move money from subscriptions to health insurance cost reimbursement. And then in my 1681 code, my telephone, where I'm ahead on money on there to move it into my overtime code.
Okay, any questions for Director Coleman? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the transfer. Moved by Councilperson Driscoll, seconded by Councilperson Supervisor Driscoll, seconded by Supervisor Seaver. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, motion passes. All right, Director Coleman, will you please go over your budget?
So in years past, they used to say my budget was simple and there wasn't much changes, but that last year or two, it's been changing and this year is no different. And that the cyber requirements are just changing and the tools we need are much different. A lot of things that we never used to do, we have to do now, or we can't even, the cyber insurance company won't even talk to us anymore. And the industry is changing over from buying a product to renting a product for the year and maybe subscriptions. And that's really where my biggest increase has been. We've been getting grants to get some of it, but now we're getting to the point that, we use those to get started. And now we have all these requirements now. So that's my biggest jump, and almost feel like our hands are tied that we have to have these things. And if I don't think who saw Suffolk County in the news, we're trying to keep up on top with these tools so that hopefully we don't have what happened to them. That's my biggest increase, and it's not going to get better next year or the year after because there's other changes coming down the line in a few years. I'm finding alternatives to those for as long as possible, but IT is really changing cost-wise in the industry, that expense. And probably, and then the other thing I'm looking for my budget is do some position changes. And then I've got, just trying to recognize that we have people that we've trained. Like I have help desk people, we call them level 1, level 2. Well, my level 1s have been here long enough. They're doing the same exact work as a level 2, no different. And I put all this time and effort into training them and making them more experienced. I'm hoping to be able to recognize that fact that I don't train them, so they move on to someplace else.
Any questions for Director Coleman on IT budget? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
Pleasure.
Mike, didn't we recently outsource some computer installation?
Yeah, we did some
And is
custom
that- is
programming.
that up and going or? how's
Yeah,
it going?
it's still under development.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a stage process. So yeah, we're in the first stage of them working on their part, then we testing. So we're in that first stage yet.
And that was because what would be timely to find someone to do that. So it's actually a cost-effective.
Correct. Yeah, we have an open position, so we
Yeah.
use that salary money to
To get
do
it
that
done.
as we were looking at alternatives to make our programming easier in the future.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Thanks. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, any other county supervisor? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Director Cole.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day.
So,
Welcome. Okay, I got purchasing next.
Well, I can pretty much repeat what Carla said about her budget. Mine is very, very small comparatively to other departments. I do have the stockroom legacy costs still. Those are just related to the retiree from that position. She retired back in 2010. So I have no control over those. As far as the purchasing budget, just quickly, you can see that my contractual request is down. Part of that is due to switching to Gov Deals from eBay. That's been a very positive shift for us. We are able to basically take our miscellaneous fees to zero. Those were fees that we paid eBay for the listings. We don't pay any fees for Gov Deals. And you'll see our revenues are way up this year. That's partially due to the sheriff's unclaimed property, but it's just been a very, very good deal for us. I did keep the revenues the same for next year because we never know what we're gonna get for surplus property or unclaimed property. So most of my increases are due to personal services. One thing I did want to note, you'll see that I do have a personnel request in here. I just wanted to note that the deputy's initial grade assignment was based on a 1991 job description. So I worked with Trish, we got that job description upgraded, and I feel that it's necessary for him to be raised a grade, or that position to be raised a grade to reflect the job responsibilities as they are now. Anybody have any questions?
What would be the thing here? That's the one that has the annual salary of 48,973.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The particular position
That I'm
you would like to
requesting.
Upgrade. Right. What is the current salary and what is the proposed salary for that upgrade?
The current salary
Without
is
mentioning names.
63,836. And for the number of years that it would fall on that table, the salary would go to 71,787.
That's about an $8,000 increase.
It'd be going from a grade 12 to a grade 13. Actually, I'm sorry. It actually would be only I shouldn't say only, it would be an increase of $4,064. Based on the projected salary for 2023 versus the increase in the grade. So for my budget, it would be a $4,000 increase.
So I guess we don't make that decision. I guess that would go to personnel, right? So we're looking at the budget. So you would look at increasing your budget of $4,064 to be able to accommodate this. And I'd be all right with that. How about the committee? Not that this is a vote, I guess it's just a consensus. This would move on to personnel, I believe.
Personnel and finance, correct.
It's, yeah, it's a
No.
budget request.
Oh, it's okay,
Yeah.
all right. okay,
I've
I'm
already
sorry.
talked about it with. the
Okay, I'm
budget
sorry,
review.
okay.
I just wanted to
Alright.
bring it to everybody's
Alright.
attention that it
Don't worry.
was a 1991 job description that it was.
Yeah, we don't wanna
originally
lose
based on.
anybody either because the salary levels are so low. All right, and so any questions for purchasing agent Butler on this matter, on the budget matter? Action item,
No, it was just the budget review.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I see the Board of Elections here.
Which order you want us to go in?
Mr. Chairman, we've got, Beth is handing out a couple added to our, it's nothing added to our agenda, it's just backup information.
Okay. The commissioners that has been brought up with us from the Board of Elections. And the only thing that I think I see on the agenda for us to
Get more information. More paper.
Thank you very much.
is to go over the budget, I think.
Let's. Oh, I'm sorry. Back of the room.
All right, so let's do the budget review first, if you would, please, Commissioner Van Ness and McLaughlin.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, we're going to ask a couple of the things that we're going to talk about today may have an effect on the budget as it goes in. Do you want to talk about just the budget review first, or do you want to save it for last after we discuss?
Whatever you prefer to do is fine with me.
We could do it going along too.
Yeah. Well, the two new, I guess, one of the first things is would jump to B, would be the two new election management techs that we've asked for. This will be the second year in a row that we have asked for them. And as you can see, we have gone to personnel. You'll see in your packet, skip over, if you clear your budget stuff out of there for the time being. Yeah, and go right to resolution, create a new position. You'll see that we've gone through personnel, it's signed off on personnel and HR. You'll also see a bullet sheet and a percentage sheet that we put together to show you what these new techs are needed for and what the job description would be. There's also the senior clerk election management technician board of elections jobs, skills, and requirements that we helped put together by Trish and by Jackie. It's gotten to the point over the last couple of years that 128 law changes since 2019 on the Board of Elections. And these 128 board changes on the Board of Elections have all been very cumbersome to the point of the expedience on when absentees have got to be done, when the reporting has got to be done, the entry and the wide open agenda for people to register to vote. We can see same day registration coming up. We're still a 4-person office. We did get the graces of the budget officer last year to increase our budget by about $10,000 to help us with per diem and additional help. We have got some fantastic per diem and part-time help. We couldn't have done it without them, but these positions are not positions that you can walk into and learn overnight. Most of them are all computer literate stuff, people that are good on a computer, registering voters, registering absentees, handing out absentees, making sure the ballots are out on time. And if you look at that checklist that we supplied you with, it'll explain to you exactly what their job consists of and what they're going to do. The ballot preparation and design, we are willing to give back the best we can, but there's no way that we're going to be able to give you back the cost that it's going to be for these 2 additional positions. When we ask for 2 additional, because of course, in the Board of Elections, it has to be bipartisan positions. It has to be a Republican and a Democratic position. They'll work together to do a lot of this work. So with the 2 new positions, we would be able to reduce our per diem part-time staff from 33,000 to 13,000. Keeping our techs on board for setup and delivery, who they're doing it now. The techs positions are used to set up, test, deliver, maintain our voting systems downstairs. There are also our bipartisan group that works throughout the county on election day. We have 3 bipartisan teams that travel the entire county throughout the day in case we have a problem in Hague. We don't want the people in Hague to have to wait till we can get a group out of Queensbury to get up to Hague. We have a north group, we have a mid-county group, we have a south group, and Beth and I are on the road as well, handling paper jams and issues with that. So that would give us the ability to keep these people. And to refresh your memory, in 2017, the Board of Elections was under contract with Mullen Movers for $6,880 an election, just to move our equipment. That didn't have anything to do with fixing it or anything else, just to move it. That was roughly about $13,700 a year for 2 elections. When we came in, we took it over. We now rent our own trucks. We now thank God for the help of the county building and grounds and the town of Queensbury's crew. They assist us. We've reduced that down to about $2,000 to $2,500 election that we did in 2017. That's still the route we're going. And again, that's keeping our techs in place. The process of registering and transfers has become very cumbersome. This year alone, we've registered over 2,000 new voters in Warren County. We did not, believe me, expect that whatsoever. We were looking at it last year. We were down around 46.5, 47.
We're at 47,900. We're presently at 49,780.
So we're pushing the $50,000 or 50,000 registered voter mark, which surprised us all. So with that, affiliation changes. As the way politics are, you know how they go. We've done over 500 affiliation changes this year alone. And again, this falls back on our clerks, or if our clerks are overburdened, it comes back into Beth or I. This stops us down from doing our machine testing and making sure the oversight of the office is there. And one last thing, there is a New York State Senate bill, and it's S6684A, which is attached to your group, which is passed through the Senate in advance to the 3rd reading on March 2nd to be sent back to the Assembly. Currently sitting in the Assembly. This bill, excuse me, would put a requirement on the county to increase our staff by 2 more instead of us being here asking for it. This bill, and again, I hate to say it, but it's an unfunded mandate that would be handed down from the state that would be telling the county that they have to give us 2 more people. Are we ahead of the 8 ball a little bit? Yeah, but we need to be ahead of the 8 ball. That's how bogged down we are. So that's why we're asking for 2 new people. The increase in money did help, but it didn't help in the workload that we have, and the workload has just become greater and greater within our office, and it's too much for 4
And
people to
as
do.
even, Pam touched on in the clerk's office, it's the training, because it's not, somebody can't just come off the street and know everything that we do. And every year the elections change, and as Bill had said, the election law is changing. It's been, quite a few in the since 2019. And they happen quickly, and it's nice if we had that staff that was there to see those changes and to move forward with us as a group of 6 versus group of 4.
Thank you for giving us a sheet that compares counties,
Mhm.
apples to apples kind of counties.
Yep.
Correct.
Correct. And geez,
And that's,
yeah, we've got 4 and a county, Cattaraugus, about the same size. They have 6. Even smaller counties in terms of number of voters have 6. And the 2 positions that you're seeking may be mandated going forward. However, for now, they pay a base salary of $47,608, and they're defined as an election management technician, and they are civil service, it appears.
Correct.
And so,
service.
have you added to your budget?
Oh, it's not civil, John, I'm sorry.
It's not
Did
civil
you ask
service.
if it was civil service?
Yeah.
They're
No.
not, they're
not.
unclassified.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Well, thank you
They're
for
reporting it.
clarifying that.
Correct, they're an unclassified position.
All right, Supervisor Seaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. You're going to delete then those other per diem positions and remove that out of the budget and delete those positions.
We have,
By
For the
creating-
most, for the most part of them, the only ones we're asking that we'd be allowed to keep is our downstairs techs. And they are the ones that help us maintain the machines. They're basically down in the cellar, getting the machines prepared to be moved out. And when we deliver, they're the ones that go out on the road and do the
Right.
delivery. So we'd be losing our ballot definition people, the people that build our ballots. And I'm glad you brought that up, Supervisor Seaver, because you'll see in there, the ballot definition is where they actually build the ballot. They come into our office, they sit there and build it. The people that we're using right now are fantastic, but they both have full-time job. Well, one has a full-time job, one is retired, but they have to work together. So they come in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to build this ballot. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're 7 hours into our day. What Beth and I will normally do is stick around with them because there's a lot of questions that they don't understand building that ballot. So those are the positions that we're talking about deleting and having these 2 new people come in. They'd be there with us 8 to 4. Any questions they would have come on about. So that's part of the job that they would do. So we delete that.
Okay.
they were actually deleted last year, the voting system support specialists.
Right.
um,
That was money
that
that
was-
was given to us.
in a
to
different
find out.
code. In the extra help code, so it's kind of just shifting money.
Last year, they deleted the voting system support specialist, which is actually their titles. But what they did do is gave us that
Put
$10,000
money into the-
into the miscellaneous account. So we're able to keep them on. So that position is actually deleted, but that's 10,000 we give back. That was added into our,
I'm just looking at
That's-
form number 11, section D, where it asks any positions be deleted, and you listed 2 per diem EMS, 10 and 20 for extra help per diem help.
Yeah.
And then, so just in the spirit of when we create new positions, as long as there's something else that's being deleted, I just wanted to be clear that that
Yes.
was. And if you could email us out that Senate bill, I can't pull it up for some
I think
reason.
I've got,
It's part
I
of it.
think we
Yeah,
attached
it's
the
in the-
back
Right.
part, right? You want the entire bill?
The reason I'm asking for that is, I think that we should talk, whether it be through this committee or a different committee, about if they're going to have an unfunded mandate. If it doesn't look like it's going to be funded, or I can't tell by what I've seen, but we should be advocating to the state to say, if you're once again requiring us to do this, then we should receive funding. And should we ever receive funding, I assume we can go back and allocate it towards these positions.
We can send that to you, and you're also gonna see, you're not gonna like that bill, because also in that bill, it's gonna tell you that you're gonna increase, that we're gonna be required to increase the pay of our inspectors and the pay of our election day workers. We pay right now, we pay our inspectors to work a full day of election. We pay them $240 for the day. They're requiring them to move to $300. That's all in that bill. I'll send it to you, but sure.
Yeah,
That's-
that just mandating two
Yep.
new full-time positions and I appreciate that it's coming before us, but you're looking for us to act on that and create the positions? Because I thought last year it went through budget
Yeah,
and you make
however
the
it goes, right.
determination. It comes to you. Okay.
You know, get rid of the machines.
Paper ballots.
You
We would need-
don't have all these programs, you just fire. Paper ballots.
And the very last thing that I'll add in there is that we also included in there, you'll take a look at the sheet that Beth just handed out. That is basically a summary of this report that we put out in January every year. It's called the end of the year summary report that we're required to give out by New York State election law. But that the staple sheet that Beth handed out it's just basically a summary of part of what we're required to do over there now with the additional stuff that the laws have passed on to us. So depending on these positions at this time are not included in our budget. So if these positions are created, it would be an additional to our budget so that's why we wanted to speak about that first and then.
$95,000.
Yeah, you're correct. Absolutely. Yep. And again, we can't get back. I wish we could say we could get back 95, but we can't. I mean, we did raise our fee to the town to a little over almost 11,000. We also are going to eliminate 2 positions to 20,000, but we're not a revenue making department by any means. So we're cutting where we can, but we can't get back what it's going to cost us.
But we did get a new grant.
Yeah.
Postage grant.
If you
Where,
want
I don't, yeah, where are you at?
go to Russell Sage or you wanna
Okay,
follow
well,
down through.
for the budget, well, I was
Okay.
gonna throw some good news in there. So with absentees, we are mandated now to, any applications have to be postage paid coming back and ballots as well. So we have been honored to apply for a grant or to accept a grant for $22,620.96. It's C of the action items.
And it's actually a grant that's given to us by, actually New York State gets awarded the grant. New York State distributes the grant. And our portion of the distribution of that grant was $22,620.96. But we do have to file basically an application to the state to explain what we're going to do with that money. And we're just asking permission to go ahead and accept that grant, is basically what it is. That'll give us permission to move ahead and file the paperwork to accept it. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I know we're bouncing all over, but
No, we're sharing the agenda item for you up here, and so thank you for dealing with us. So, okay, so creating a new position.
It's for this year. It's for funds
So it's
up
not an action
until
item,
December
it's
of
a
this year.
discussion item. So that you're aware that the Board of Elections would like to create 2 new positions. The only thing is we'll get to a discussion of the budget. Did you include those amounts? You did not yet.
we
Okay.
didn't because we
We don't
actually
do-
can't.
Yeah, we don't do the.
That's a code that is put in by budget if the positions are approved.
The salaries are all, the salary requests or personnel requests are all separate from what's.
All right, okay,
For all the ones.
all right. So that's just as long as it's understood.
Right, okay. So
Okay,
I guess the only thing we're asking for now, Mr. Chairman, is a approval to go ahead and I'm going beyond the 2 people that the hiring. We're asking for acceptance of the $22,000 grant.
okay. Is there a motion to do that? A motion made by Supervisor Frazier. I keep on wanting to say Councilman. And seconded by Supervisor Conover. Any further discussion of the 22,620 grant agreement?
That,
Seeing-
that is for this year.
Okay. Thank
Until
you for
December.
clarification. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion passes.
And then the last piece is Sage Smith, which we did discuss at our budget meeting, and it is included in our budget. That's election night reporting. It's a big piece of what we do, and it's a very time-consuming piece of what we do.
All right, can I back up a little bit? That
Sure.
Last motion is included in that motion. Is there a approval for there to apply for the grant? Right?
No, we actually, we don't have to apply for it. It's actually a grant that is applied for and received by New York State out of the state budget. They receive a lump sum, and what happens is, once they receive it, they distribute it. So we've already been awarded. We didn't apply for it. They do it by voters
All right,
registration.
all right.
Right.
Normal procedure would be.
It's different. Yes, correct.
All
It's
right,
different.
well, thank you for accommodating me,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, I apologize. Yep.
Go ahead, please.
We were at Sage Smith, D, election night reporting, and it is included in our budget for 2023. We did include their sole source, their pricing, and the benefits to us, the counties that are presently using. And then we also have a letter of recommendation from Erie County that has been using Sage Smith since 2019. It's needed tremendously. Right now, we are taking two different systems and manually pretty much adding the absentees into election day. And now absentees are being counted on election night. So that's quite a process that we have to go through to get those presented to the public in a timely fashion. So Sage Smith would seamlessly be able to integrate those two systems and get them broken down even by party on primaries, election districts, on general elections, on election night. At this point, we are doing it, but it's a cumulative report. So on election night this year, you're just going to see a bulk of candidate A has how many votes, candidate B has how many votes. And then with that, the biggest thing, there's a lot of checks and balances in that. And it will have the ability to, we have to recount races that are within 0.05% or 20 votes. And that's gonna, it's automatically gonna give us, again, right on election night. So we know what we're looking for, forward to with the work with getting certified.
All right, questions on the contract with Sage Smith? And they give you the quotes for this, for the first year, and then for the next 4 years, 5-year contract.
Correct.
Any questions from the committee for the commissioners on that topic?
Plus, well, Mr. Chairman, it'll expedite the results. I know we've had a lot of people asking about that. This system will expedite the results.
All right, seeing no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve that request for a new contract with Sage Smith.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by County Supervisor Frazier. Seconded by County Supervisor Mandel. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion passes. Okay, now will you highlight your budget for us, I guess?
Oh, geez. Well, let's see, our revenues, it just passed the last board meeting to increase the election services to the towns by 250 per ED. So it's a increase of $10,500. Pretty much we tried to carry everything that we had for 22 into 23. Equipment rental, we did increase 5,000 because we, after our August primary, that was unexpected. Of course, with fuel and traveling, that increased. So we did add another $500 to that.
And, Stephanie,
cover-
I don't know if you saw it or not, but we just did get a notice from Ryder Truck Rental. The truck rental is increasing. So it was good we put it in there.
The repair and maintenance, this is for the Dominion resolution that was passed, and it's only in case of, we're hoping never to use that $5,000. Postage, same, but we will get reimbursed for 22 with this grant that we just got approved to accept. For 22, going to 23, maybe we'll get some more money. Who knows? Let's see, contracts looks larger because it's a lot of ours had renewed from the 5 years. So the 10X is renewing to 24 for 11,250. Dominion is the state contract. That's the same. Next vote, which was approved in an early resolution this year, is our voter red system. It's actually a little down from what we're paying currently. I believe we're at 47,000 with our current vendor. Clear ballot again was a renewed contract, and it is prepaid. So it would be 9,032 annually for the 5 year for clear ballot. And then, of course, you see Sage Smith in there. The first year is at 26,900. I think that kind of covers it in a nutshell.
Any questions from committee? Proposed Board of Elections budget. Well, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank
day.
you.
All right, next. Use policy. I did send that. What?
Wait and
One
see.
John, sure, because we were running late.
Have any
Mr. Chairman,
questions?
I just want to bring up that the ARPA meeting was supposed to start at 3. And we do
Thanks.
have NACO representatives and representatives from the National Association for Mental Health calling in at 3, but a little bit behind now to talk briefly about that program. So I don't know how lengthy the debate or the topic will be on this.
The items on here, I think we just shift to the next meeting if the committee's comfortable with them.
I don't have a problem.
Boy, I didn't see anybody not comfortable with that.
Thank you.
All right, well, is there anything else for the good of the order? Is there anybody, I'll open privilege of the floor. All right, nobody interested, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, motion to adjourn made by Frazier, seconded by Supervisor Seaver. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're now